So in the entire Rome line, we have you can really break it down into 6 unique or 6 specific shapes that the boards kind of follow. There's special geometries within each of them, but in general, we've got 6 basic categories. True twin board, very straightforward. It's a board that looks the same when you look at it left or right. It's the nose and the tail are the same shape, length, and then the flex profile is the same. The tail stiffness is the same as the nose stiffness, and it's true twin, 100% twin, right from the center line of the board. It's a mirror image. Another shape we have is directional twin, and this is where the shape of the board itself is a perfectly balanced twin, meaning from the center line of the board to the tail and from the center line of the board to the nose, you have the exact same geometry, but we've got a stiffer core profile through the tail of the board, and that's what makes it directional, even though the shape itself is fully twin. The benefit of that is a lot of people favor their back leg when riding. They may ride switch often, but you still favor that one leg, and that allows you to, a directional twin allows you to really leverage off of that back foot and power out of your turns. Another shape we have is the almost twin. This is a board that has a slightly longer nose than the tail. So when you first look at it, it may look like a twin, but in fact, it's not quite a twin. Our Agent Series board is like this, very visually balanced. But the other aspect of it that makes it twinish is the core profile. The core profile for the tip of the board and for the tail of the board is identical. So you have a perfectly balanced flexing board, even though the shape has a little bias towards the tail. The objective of that is to have the feel of a twin board for tricks, for riding switch, but also have a little bit of benefit when you're out, kind of when you find some chunder or some powder or something. A little bit longer nose is going to help you float in that and perform a little better than a straight up true twin. Directional standard is a board that basically is very standard. It's got a longer nose than a tail, so from the middle of the board to the tail is different than from the middle of the board to the nose. The nose is typically a little bit longer. In addition to the geometry of the board being a little biased towards the nose, we're also going to have a stiffer profile through the tail of the board, again, so that you can leverage off that stronger back leg in riding in a directional situation. Directional tapered is another board we have in the line, and that is similar to the directional board in that the nose of the board, the forebody of the board, is a little bit bigger, longer than the tail of the board. So visually you'll be able to see a nose versus a tail. But the other aspect of a tapered board is that the width of the board at the contact points is slightly narrower than the nose of the board at the contact points. And what this helps, it helps increase flotation and powder. It helps initiate turns, so the board will come around a little bit easier. So if you're riding a little bit longer board on some of our notch series, those boards will come around a little bit quicker with the taper. The other benefit of the tapered tail is that in combination with a smaller tail that we put on these boards, it's going to also provide a little bit more sink and powder on the tail, so the nose will actually buoy up a little bit higher. The final shape we have in the line, Rome line, is the swallowtail, and this is obviously a very specialized board where we have a very full nose in this board, a lot of volume, which is going to help enhance flotation and powder. But on the tail, we have a notch cut out of it, and that's where the swallowtail comes. It actually looks a lot like the tail of a swallow, the bird. The objective with this is to reduce the flotation of the tail so that the board tends to plane upward, very much like a boat in the water. When the stern of the boat sinks a little bit, the front of the boat comes up. That's the objective of cutting out the center of those boards. The tails, the swallowtails themselves, it's nice to have a little bit of extra tail back there that you can leverage off of and finish your turns with. So rather than shortening the tail, we've just reduced the volume of the tail by getting rid of the center section of the board and forming that swallowtail shape.